Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Emmy the Cat Lady, and we're back here in the capital Wasteland. So we're going to take a tour of the power stations. So there's quite a few of these kind of power stations all over the capital Wasteland. They're not the biggest locations, but they do have some interesting things in them, so they're worth visiting. This one is currently occupied by raiders, but not for much longer. I'm going to be getting rid of them. And you. There we go. So this one here is the MDPL Mass Relay Station. So it's located just to the south of Roosevelt Academy, which we visited previously. And it was actually once a Brotherhood of Steel outpost, which we will see in just a second. And there's kind of a few random bits and pieces. We've got some Nuka-Cola, some Raiders, first aid boxes, all that kind of stuff. But there is a little kind of interior location here. You also, one of the common themes in all these places, you will find lots of the kind of ingredients for the weapon crafting dotted about in these places, but there is a door down here. So this place is a raider stronghold, and it's actually kind of interesting because it's one of few places where there's raiders and there's a named one that's kind of the leader. That's something that you see very commonly in the Commonwealth. Most of the raider strongholds there's a named one that's their leader. But it's not as common here, but this place we do have one. So we can head inside. So yeah, you can see the Brotherhood insignia here. So this was at one point Brotherhood location, and we've got this person here who is named Torture, which is interesting. Most likely because they're very fond of using a flamer. But we're just gonna deal with this person, and there's also a friend over there. Goodbye. There we go. So yeah, I say a handful of raiders, and there's definitely some very interesting bits and pieces to pick up in here. So we've got ammo boxes and stuff everywhere, but there's guns and bullets on the table here alongside this 10mm pistol, microfusion cells and stealth boys. So you can kind of tell that the Brotherhood have definitely been here at some point. But if we check out Torture herself, we have the Torture's mask, which is the unique version of the Raider Arclight helmet. So it's like a welding helmet, welding mask. And that gives you +5 to big guns and +5 to explosives, which is kind of nice, as well as a flamer if you are in the market for one of those. And we've got plenty of mugs and things, some ammo boxes. So a decent amount of kind of energy weapon ammo. There's also a safe, which does have a Nuka-Cola Quantum in it. You can unlock it by lockpick or using the terminal. And we've got the foot lockers along here, which tend to have some good stuff in them as well. Again, it seems to be kind of left over from the Brotherhood having been here. But these beds as well are also probably the cleanest ones that you will find in the capital Wasteland. Look at them, they're absolutely spotless. You could definitely eat your dinner off them. They're very, very clean, so that's nice. So you can set up as player house in here, but just be careful. Not all of the containers are safe. Some of them will respawn, and the raiders can respawn as well. So, you know, you can kind of stay here, but it's maybe not the safest location for that. But yeah, nice little thing to have. So we're going to head for the next location, which is in the very northwest of the map. So it's up near Raven Rock. So quite easy to spot most of these locations. If you look out for the pylons, they'll generally lead you in the right direction. There is some bugs in this one. Oh, yep. Well, we're just gonna clear out the critters. Because we don't need them getting in the way. That all? Yeah. Cool. So this one here is a small one. There's no interior location. The gates are locked, but there is a way to get in, which is on the other side. So basically, rock slide has broken the fence, so we can get in that way. And we can find this chap. So yeah, we've got this little skeleton here, reaching for his tools. So presumably he worked here when he died, but we've got some fun things. So we've got Dean's electronics. The workman's toolbox does also contain the key, which opens the gate. Not that you need it, but you know, it's nice to have. But we also have a copy of the dart gun schematics, as well as a Nuka-Cola. So this is one of the locations where you can find the weapon schematics out in the wild. So quite a handy little find there. And Dane's Electronics is quite good because I think the higher your repair skill, the better quality the weapon will be once you craft it, if I remember correctly. Anyway, next up, we are looking for... yeah, this one here. So we're going to go to Minefield and head up there. So we'll just walk past. Arkansas will take a few shots at us, but we can just leave him alone. There is no need to upset him. And this place is really easy to spot. You can see these 3 chimneys and you can see them from quite far away. So it's not so much a hidden location. It's quite kind of out in the open up. Yep, Minefield has mines. Shouldn't really be surprised about that. Here we go. Yeah, so this one is definitely a bit bigger and a bit more interesting. So it sits kind of exactly halfway between the Germantown Police Headquarters and Grainer Pastures disposal site, but the chimneys are tall enough to be seen from quite a distance, so yeah, easy enough to find. So there's 2 interiors in this location. Obviously we've got these kind of transformers and the pylons and things. So there's a power plant here, and then there's a little kind of substation over there. So we're going to go into the power plant first. The enemy in here is ghouls, so I have the ghoul mask, so ghouls are friends, so we don't need to worry too much about them. There is radiation in here though as well, which makes sense given that there's ghouls. There's also a turret which you can activate that takes out the ghouls for you. They can't reach it, so it actually is quite an effective way of dealing with them if you are not immune to being attacked by them. But yeah, we've got a Reaver in here. And there's probably a couple of glowing ones kicking about. But yeah, there's a lot of containers to be found with random, you know, the usual kind of loot that you would expect to find. We've got first aid boxes, we've got foot lockers, we've got lockers. Usual sort of thing, but there is one piece of loot in here that is very, very interesting. So if we head upstairs onto this catwalk. Oh, there's a glowing one. And then the turret's up here, and I say there's ghouls dotted about, but if we go past this turret into this room here, which is obviously the kind of office, there are some radioactive barrels, which would explain the presence of the ghouls. They are entirely possible that they're the workers from this power plant that are still here after all this time. There's a safe in the floor, which the terminal can open. But we've got this one, we've got Fisto. So this is a unique power fist. The main thing about it is it just does higher damage as a baseline, but it's less durable, so it wears out quicker. But if you're interested in collecting all the unique weapons, then that's one there for you. So yeah, quite a fun little location, and you know, you can clearly piece together that the likelihood is that, you know, for some reason they stored a bunch of radioactive waste in the office, and the rads obviously took their toll on the employees, and now the place is full of ghouls. But we're just going to leave them in peace because they are our friends. And we're going to head back outside to go into the other building. I say none of these are big locations. They're all quite small, but that doesn't mean that they're not interesting. But yeah, we've got this little substation. So there's a few of these that have workbenches in them as well if you are looking for a workbench. So you can see this one does. There's also another safe, which the terminal can open for you as well. And we've got some Abraxo, tin cans, first aid box. Vault-Teg poster, of course. And yeah, you'll find that there is, you know, bits of scrap metal and various other things. But on the workbench here, we've got a Nuka-Cola Quantum, bottle cap mine, and also a copy of the railway rifle schematics, which I apparently haven't even picked up at all on this character until now. But yeah, so again, that's another set of schematics for you. And everything else, you have got the makings of a Nuka grenade in here with the Quantum, which is nice to have. And like pretty much all the workbenches, there's a bottle cap mine just waiting for you to collect. So yeah, some fun little bits and pieces there. And then the next station is over here, so close to Chase Acres Dairy Farm and the Republic of Dave. I'll just fast travel to that relay tower, and then we'll head off to our next destination. Might make more sense to follow the road. I don't know. Oh, the road disappears, so that answers that question. It is. Yeah, so say if you're looking for these places, keep an eye out for the big pylons. They'll generally lead you in the right direction. And some of them are a bit on the broken side, but you know, they probably haven't been properly maintained for a couple of 100 years, so it's unsurprising that some of them will fall apart. Just what happens. But yeah, here's the power station up here. So this one's quite a small one, but we do have a couple of useful bits of loot inside. So we've got the little station here. This is the MDPL 16. As far as I can gather, the MD stands for Maryland, while the other ones that we're going to look at, VA, stands for Virginia, because the capital Wasteland sits on the state border between these two states. So we do kind of cross over that, even though the states didn't really exist before the bombs because they changed it to 13 Commonwealths. Again, it was a whole thing, but yeah, so we've got a little safe and the terminal to open the safe. And some other bits and pieces. We've got another quantum and another bottle cap mine as well. So it's pretty much a copy of the last one, but not quite as much fun stuff in it, but still a few useful bits and pieces. So if you're passing by, you might as well stop in. Some of these places do have random encounter locations. I have no idea what the heck just happened there. Something similar happened. See, I've had a bit of an issue, so this video might come out later than planned, because I somehow managed to record the full thing and then the footage didn't record, only my voice. So I've had to go back and start it again, and there was another place where I had an explosion and there was some dead people and I didn't really know what had happened, but something took down this Protectron. Okay, that was weird, but never mind. We're just gonna ignore that and move on. So the final Maryland power station is up near Oasis and the SATCOM arrays, which you can kind of see. Oasis over here. So there, and we'll fast travel to the broadcast tower. I think that's a sensible place. We've got some mole rat friends. That's okay, mole rats are my friends because I've got animal friend. Definitely worth your time. Makes the wasteland a much safer place. If you take animal friend and have the ghoul mask, then all you need to worry about is the bugs, the death claws, and the angry people. It does make life a wee bit easier. So you can see the satellite satcom arrays in the background. We'll be covering them at some point. They're quite interesting. Got some radioactive water, and there's our pylons. Easier to see these things in the daytime, but when I'm on take 2 of this video, I don't really feel like waiting around for daylight, so we're just going to carry on. So here we go. Here is the next one. So this is the MDPL 21 power station. And we can get inside through the garage door. There's not really anything that interesting on the outside of this one, but we have got, you know, some desks set up and everything. This guy unfortunately didn't survive his morning coffee, which is kind of a shame. There's a safe and terminal. There's no like funny terminal entries or anything in these places. The terminals just open the safe, but you know, nice to have if you're low on bobby pins, which this character is. I only have one. I'll need to do something about that. I keep forgetting. But we do have our workbench with the bottle cap mine. But there's also a Nikola Tesla new. So yet another skill book in one of these places, and then, you know, some other random bits and pieces. But yeah, so that's all there is inside here, but there is an interesting thing to find nearby. So let me remember how I found it. So we're going kind of northeast. It's kind of up here. Nope, I've gone slightly the wrong way again, but I actually wanted to revisit this. So I found this the first time around, and I think it's going to be interesting to... I did look into it. So we come up here, there's a kind of bridge across the cliff there, but there's this dead wastelander, and he has an interesting note on him. Oh, bobby pins, brilliant, thank you. Called Dead End, and I was wondering if this would actually go somewhere, but it doesn't. This is the only kind of details that we have about this. So it's been a week and I still haven't picked up Marco's trail. Sitting here now alone, I can be completely honest with myself and anyone who might read this. I've never felt like such a failure in my life. To let a man enter your home and then watch helplessly as he murders your family in cold blood is more than any person should have to bear. Now I can't find the son of a bitch to give him what he has coming. He kills my children in front of my eyes and he gets to just walk away. No punishment, no justice. How is that fair? I'd kill myself, but I'm sure I'd just screw that up too. I just wish I knew what to do. I wish God or someone would give me some kind of sign. So yeah, quite a sad wee note there that basically this guy offered presumably hospitality to somebody and then he just murdered his kids in front of him. And he's been trying to track the guy down, but has not managed to do so. And it seems that he did give up the fight and ended things, which is kind of sad. But there's no mention of Marco or any way to track it, so it doesn't really kind of go anywhere, unfortunately. I think this is the location I was really looking for here. So we can kind of come over here. So in relation to the power station that we were at, yeah, it's almost directly north, but not quite. But right on the edge of the map, and then there's this little water, which we can jump into. So obviously there's radioactive waste here, so make sure you bring some Rad-X Radaway if you're coming here. But this overturned dumpster, and we can go through here, and there's usually 3 bodies. Seem to be missing one. Yeah, there's normally a dead raider. Oh, there they are. Yeah, so there's a dead raider here. There is dead Wastelander, who also has bobby pins. Thank you, fantastic. And we also have a dead scientist who has a radiation suit on. So I don't really know what the situation was here. There's, fresh blood on the ground and 3 fresh bodies. So Radar presumably found these people. Maybe they were here doing some kind of research. There's a lot of chems around as well. We've got lots of Radaway, some buff out and things. And there is also a DC Journal of Internal Medicine in this location as well, and a safe that you can open for some other random loot. So yeah, I'm not sure entirely what the story is here. Presumably this raider maybe came here, killed these 2 people, and then died from the radiation or something. Don't really know, but somebody was making a camp here for some reason, which is an interesting choice, but that seems to be what happened. But there is a free bed that we can use and some other useful bits and pieces, so that's kind of nice. Right, so now we're going to move on to the Virginia power stations. So there's 3 of those. So first place we want to go to is Arafoot. Okie dokie, here we are at Arafoot, right on the bridge, and the power station is just over here. And the Brahmin say hello. Go. So just like the other ones, you can kind of spot the pylons that kind of lead you towards them. So there's the building there coming into view. There's a rad scorpion over there. So this one can trigger an interesting little thing. So just to be prepared, rare occasions a death claw can spawn inside the building here. But because of space limitations, it can't actually do anything to you. Wee bit collapsed here, but yeah. So interesting one inside here. Okay, we're safe, no death claw. But yeah, you've got a lot of your kind of usual odds and ends. First aid box. Paint guns. So we've got another Dean's Electronics, and then a miniature safe that's very hard locked, or you can use the terminal to unlock it. There is a mini nuke up on the light fixture. And we've got another quantum on the workbench, as well as a bunch of, bottle cap mine, motorcycle handbrake, all these bits and pieces that you can use to make some of your homemade weapons. So plenty of that dotted around. Also, there is a stealth boy on the control panel. But there's more, so you can kind of see it. It's not very clear, but the mat here, and then there is a ladder. And we can head up to the roof, which is nice. So, a few interesting things here. We've got some beer, we've got a BB gun and BBs, we've got a BBQ, and we've got a US Army 30 handy flamethrower recipes skill book as well. So, yeah. Quite a fun little one, and thankfully we didn't get the death claw today, but the wiki does say that that can happen, but the death claw can't actually do anything to you, so you should be okay. But there's a couple of other bits and pieces nearby. So over here we can see just behind this billboard there's a little kind of shack that's set up. There's a teddy bear. Oh, there it is, it's hiding in the grass. So yeah, there's an Agricola Quantum here as well. Side box, some Brahmin bones. There's a Brahmin over there, and then there's also a shack around a pylon to the north. So if we go back to where the power station was and then follow the I nearly said pythons, they're not pythons, pylons. Imagine if there was giant snakes. There should be giant snakes. We should definitely get giant snakes in the next Fallout game, in my opinion. I think that would be fun. We've got a yellow guy, but it's okay because we're animal friends, so the bear is also a friend. Yeah, if we follow the pylons, you can see this one does have a shack built around it. There are a couple of people in this one, I think, sometimes. Yeah. They're Wastelanders, but they're ghouls and they're also angry. Which is fine. Easy solution. But yeah, so again, you know, just random bits and pieces of loot here. You've got first aid box, foot locker, and things. But on this shelf, hidden by the grass, there is a Keller family transcript holotape. So that's something that I'm going to be covering in a future video, is the Keller family. Very, very interesting story. You need to find all the holotapes in order to gain access to a particular location, which is worth a visit. There's also a mini nuke here as well, if you're interested in that. So yeah. And then the next one, this one's a very small one. It's near Jocko's Pop and Gas stop, which is here. Enemies are nearby. Who's nearby? Okay. There we go. Problem solved. Right, we don't need this. So there's scenic overlook over there. Fair enough. It's really close by to this location though. You can see the... Let's make sure I'm actually walking in the wrong direction, never mind. Forgot to move the custom map marker. Never mind. Here we go. But yeah, again, you can see the pylons stretching across. And then we've got the fenced in location there. So we can go into this one. This is the VAPL66 power station. Kind of similar to the other one. The generator's broken. And there's a bit of graffiti and some body parts. But we've got another Dean's Electronics here. There's also some chems and stuff, and there is a mini nuke on the floor. There is also a box of sugar bombs. There they are. So not a lot in here, but still kind of interesting. And then when you come outside, there's usually some raiders up here. Yeah. But it's like a scripted event. Presumably this is where they have set up shop, and then they trigger when you go in. It's not uncommon. And then finally there is one more, which is over here. So it's just up from the Rob Go facility, so I'll just fast travel there because it just cuts out a little bit of travel time. And then we'll head on our way. So yeah, 10 penny towers there as well. Hopefully that's not picking up too much in the background there, but we've got a neighbour's dog is barking its head off outside for some reason. Oh, that's not been. No, that's working. There we go. Got rid of it. No harm in doing a wee bit of pest control while we're here. Here we are. That's the location. So yeah, we've got the crumbling highway nearby as well. And this is the final power station. So this is the VAPL 84 power station. There's no inside here, no building. You've got the kind of transformers, but we can go into this little trailer for a torso, as well as some ammo boxes and things. We've got a mini nuke and we've got some other random bits and pieces, so you know, decent amount of loot if you're into your weapon crafting and things. That's one of the things about this these power stations, that they are quite a good source of crafting materials for making weapons if that's something that you've been doing in the game. And you might also get missiles and stealth boys in the containers there if you get lucky. There's supposed to be some raiders in the area, but I haven't seen them make an appearance. But if they do, oftentimes you'll also find a Yaoguai that tends to kill the raiders. Oh, where are you? Random Wastelander and a mole rat. Okay. Sure. Okay. Fair enough. Yep, there's 10 penny tower. So yeah, that's a rundown of the power stations. So they're very small locations. None of them are big dungeons or anything like that. But, you know, it's quite a decent haul of loot for very little effort in these places. So they are, you know, if you happen to be walking past on your way to something else, it's worth making a stop for weapon schematics, skill books, and other useful bits and pieces. So yeah, quite a quick rundown. So hopefully you enjoyed going through that with me. If you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments. That one with the guy with the note that said dead end, it was kind of interesting. It did kind of feel like that could maybe have gone somewhere as like a little unmarked quest, but apparently it doesn't. It's just a note that you can find that this guy is obviously wanting to go after whoever it was that murdered his children, and hasn't managed to do so, which is quite sad. So that's going to be us for now, and hopefully you'll come back on Saturday for some more Wasteland ecology as we make our way through the DLCs for the games that have their own ecosystems and things. And also to mention the next video essay, I'm not really in a position where I can make one of them every single month, so they are just going to be kind of as and when I get them done, but I have got all the kind of planning and research done for the next one, and we're going to be talking about some psychology of the vaults and the outcome of some of the vault experiments, whether that was what Vault-Tec intended or not. We're looking at what happened rather than what Vault-Tec thought would happen, and relating that to some psychology and some of the real life kind of psychological experiments that have happened that kind of relate to some of these things. So Fair warning, the topics do get kind of heavy, but I think it's a very interesting conversation. So that is in progress and hopefully will be up in the next few weeks for you guys. So thanks for watching and I'll catch you all next time. Bye.